Maybe you've seen, leading up to the season, I've been doing some weekly rankings. We did top offenses, we did top jerseys, we did top stadiums. What better way leading into the year than to rank the top teams? Everything about the team. Offense, defense, pitching, bullpen, all of it. So for the last ranking leading into the season, I wanted to rank the top 5 teams in all of baseball. And that starts with none other than the Los Angeles Dodgers. This one was a no-brainer for me. It really was. They're by far the most complete team in baseball. To be honest with you, I think there's a little bit of a gap right now between one and even the number 2 team on my list. But that's the beauty of baseball. It doesn't shape out that way. It's hard to win a World Series back-to-back. There could be a World Series hangover for the Dodgers, but in terms of this team, they are the best team in all of baseball. Their offense, I truly believe, as I said in my offensive rankings, I truly believe this team is going to put up some of the best numbers in history of the game. And now they acquired Trevor Bauer. They have one of the best rotations in the game. There are no weaknesses with this team. There really aren't. And I don't see a let-up from them in the future. They have prospects coming up that are going to be there for a long time to come. They have World Series candidates everywhere you look. We did a graphic with Fox like yesterday, recently, and it involved NL MVP candidates. It had Betts, it had Bellinger. You know who I want on there? Corey Seager. Corey Seager, MVP of the World Series. Look, I got Ronald Acuna as my MVP prediction, but I kind of want to change it after watching the spring training this guy has had. I really think he has a good chance to win MVP, as does multiple guys on that team. So, by far the most complete team in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, my number 1 team in the rankings. For number 2, I got the New York Yankees. I think the Yankees are just going to out-hit everybody. Their lineup, 1 through 9, is going to be really, really good. A wild card for them, though, is Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez, we've seen flashes of greatness. We've seen him come up and be very, very good. But in the last year, he's really struggled. And I think it just adds a whole new dimension to this team if he can be as good as he appears he can be. But even aside from him, this team, 1 through 9, is just going to out-hit everybody. They have their issues. They have their issues in the starting rotation. Not a ton of depth. You don't really know what you're going to get out of Corey Kluber. He's a little older. He's coming off of injury. I like the addition. I really do. But you don't know what you're going to get out of him. You know what you're going to get out of Garrett Cole. He's going to be one of the best pitchers in the American League. You know what you're going to get. But it all comes down to the offense with this team. It really does. They're going to hit more home runs than anybody. They're going to bash. The Bronx Bombers are going to do just that. They're going to hit bombs. That's what they're going to do. So yeah, definitely number 2 team on my list. Injuries are a big factor with them, though. Let's not forget that. Stanton's a little injury prone. Judge can be injury prone. Some other guys as well. So if they can stay healthy, I look for them to have a good year in the AL East. But that's a good division this year, so we'll see how that goes. Number 2 team, New York Yankees. My number 3 team is the San Diego Padres. Now, the San Diego Padres wouldn't have been in my top 5, maybe not even my top 10, but going into last year. But a lot has changed. They added Blake Snell. They added Yu Darvish. I'm very, very excited for this rotation. But the offense is really good. They have Tatis, who we just talked about, that got the mega deal, the mega contract that we talked about in the voicemail that was left. I'm all in on him. I think he's going to be really good and continue to get better. But this offense was really good last year. Really good. Hosmer, Pham, Cronenworth, who's a huge piece in this lineup, they're good. But the big thing that is the reason for this jump is the additions to their pitching rotation. Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, obviously at the top. Chris Paddock is, kind of a wild card in that rotation, though. When he came up, had a great year, and has shown that he can be really good. But he's also struggled a little bit. So I think he adds a whole new dimension to that rotation if he can be good. And they also added Joe Musgrove at the end of the rotation, who he's not talked about a lot. He's not the shining acquisition of the offseason for them. But you know, when the season's 162 games like it is, you know, those guys at the end of the rotation are really important. You know, you gotta lean on them, and he's a good back end of that rotation guy to bolster the back end of that rotation. So I have the San Diego Padres with the jump up to the number 3 team in my rankings, which leads me to number 4, the Atlanta Braves. Now, the Braves, if you can recall, competed with the Dodgers. They went to a Game 7 of the NLCS. This team is really good. They're going to rake. A big difference for me, though, is they got Mike Soroka back. The Braves didn't look like they were the worst team against the Dodgers. I thought the series was really good. I thought they fought toe-to-toe with them that entire series. I thought it looked like a really good matchup of 2 really good teams. What the Braves didn't have was their best pitcher, Mike Soroka. He's going to be back at some point this year. He's coming off that serious Achilles injury, so we don't know if he'll be the same, but it will be a good piece to get back. He's their guy, and they got him back. But the reason I have them at number 4 behind the Padres, who haven't quite proven themselves yet, is the bullpen. They've lost some guys in that bullpen. They didn't re-sign Shane Green. Melanson's gone. O'Day is gone. And they didn't really bring in the pieces they needed to, I thought, to fill that void. So their bullpen they're going to have to acquire some guys to get back to where they need to be and to compete when it comes playoff time. Because as we know in the playoffs, it's about pitching. It's about having that bullpen. It's about having a good starting rotation. It's about out-pitching everybody. So having that bullpen is they're going to miss it. So I really look for them to lead the way in the NL East and to compete all year. But I think at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline, they're going to add some pieces into that bullpen because they have to. They have to. But other than that, to be honest, I would have the Braves at 3 instead of 4. But solely because of the bullpen, I have them at 4. Which leads me to my 5th team in my rankings, the Chicago White Sox. Yes, the White Sox have also made a huge jump. It's not just from the guys they've acquired. They got, Lance Lynn, who's going to be big for that rotation. He's huge in terms of putting a guy at the top of the rotation. That he had a great year last year. He's throwing great in spring training. It's nice to have that guy there, but they also have Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel. The rotation's good, but it's not the rotation that excites me. It's really not. It's this lineup. It's this lineup led by the reigning MVP, Jose Abreu. They have Luis Robert, who was just dubbed a 6-tool player by Frank Thomas. 6-tool player? I've kind of run with that, by the way. I've kind of run with the whole 6-tool thing. I've kind of made it like a thing. I'm going to start dubbing guys 6-tool players based off of how fun they are to watch, how much fun they're having playing the game of baseball. Luis Robert has fun. He also rakes. He's also really fast. He's also another year older. This guy has been a huge prospect for a long, long time. He's so young, though. And I think this is the year that he takes the world by storm. It's going to be his 2nd full season. So I'm excited to watch them. But top to bottom, this roster is really good. Full of vets, full of young guys. Nick Madrigal came up last year in limited time and hit well over 300 in his games. So he's kind of a dark horse for me for AL Rookie of the Year. But yeah, this team from top to bottom is going to be really, really good. And it may surprise some people having them at number 5 in my team rankings, but I stand behind that. And I really believe they're going to be a good team heading into this season. And that rounds out my top 5 rankings list. So we've now gone through quite a few rankings, but this one leading into the season, the top 5 teams heading into the 2021 season. I feel good about it. Let me know in the comments section of this what you think. Where am I wrong? Where am I right? I want to know what you guys think. But I personally feel really, really good about it. 1 through 5, I feel like those are the best teams in baseball. But there were some teams that were close. The Mets are close. The Mets are close this year. Adding Lindor, adding a lot of pieces that were talked about earlier. They almost made the cut. And the Astros are right there as well. I have the Astros at my 7th best team. Losing Springer hurts, but they get Jordan back, who won Rookie of the Year. They added Odorizzi, who is a big thing in that rotation. So those are 2 teams that made that were close to making the cut, but I stand by my top 5. I feel great about my top 5. Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, and just talking ball, hit that subscribe button.